hey, boss, we got a giraffe out there with a broken leg. And the PH looked at him and said, a broken leg? Because he'd never heard of a giraffe with a broken leg. Huge. I mean, it was it was a big old bull. And so the PH looked at me and goes, hey, Rick, you want to try and go after it? Because lions are either going to get it or it's going to die a poor death.
Yep.
We are officially rolling at Conroe Taxidermy.
Okay, this is actually a new kind of setup here. We haven't done a podcast here before.
No, we have not.
This is what do you think of the place?
I don't think you could have a better place to have a podcast.
You've been here before, right?
I've never been here. I've
Come
only
on.
seen this on Instagram.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's quite fantastic in person. And for everybody watching right now, we got to introduce our guest. This is Rick Franco with Four Branches Bourbon, and he came all the way down. Tell me where you came from.
We flew in this morning just outside Nashville from Murfreesboro.
That's awesome.
And if you're wondering what this is right here, we'll be telling you what this is here in a little bit. But it has something to do with that fella right there. So it sure smells good. But no, we welcome to people who hunt. We say like we're at Conroe Taxidermy. This is what we're doing tonight. We actually have an annual viewer appreciation party, is what we wind up doing. We do it every year, and we do it here at Conroe Taxidermy. And we have people that literally come in from all over the country that they're viewers. They're loyal followers for a program. And when we started doing this, it was like we were shocked about how many people would show up.
Oh, yeah.
And
I think
now,
it's going to be way bigger tonight, for the record.
It is amazing. It's going to start in like an hour and a half or so, but we've got people already showing up. But we've got a guy just came in. He says he was from Mississippi. Now we're in Conroe, Texas is just north of Houston, just so y'all know. And then, but we've got guys coming in from California, Northern Kentucky, Utah. I got
Louisiana, all over the place.
I mean, it's like
I'm coming in from everywhere.
Yeah, you got to be kidding me. It's like this is so cool. So anyway, we're happy to have you with us. And the thing is the bourbon. I want to talk about bourbon. We were over there at the SCI show here not too long ago. And into Kentucky and Louisville, they had some bourbon tasting bourbon deals. So I'd never been on that, and I had never really thought that there was that much difference in bourbon. Okay, I really didn't. I mean, there's cheap stuff, there's expensive stuff, but it's like I never really sat down and learned anything about bourbon. And then when all of a sudden I went through this tasting deal, of course it was 10 o'clock in the morning. By the time I got done, I was feeling pretty dang good. I noticed that there's so many different tastes to bourbon.
Absolutely.
And it was eye opening to me because it's like I didn't know it. I mean, I go to a party, so here I'll take a bourbon. Okay.
Yeah. And if you don't, Rick, I know that you are a big time connoisseur, but if you're not aware of all that comes with this, tell everybody kind of a little bit about it. It's you could appreciate this like wine.
You can, from the technical aspect of bourbon, right? So let's educate the listeners a little bit and viewers. In order to be called a bourbon in America, you have to be 51% corn. It has to be with 51% corn. Then it's typically barley and rye, 3 grains. It's a grain spirit alcohol, right? And it has to be aged in a new American white oak barrel to be called bourbon. And it doesn't have to be done in Kentucky. Bourbon can be. You guys make some great bourbon here. Garrison Brothers make some wonderful bourbon. But we added a 4th component, wheat. Right. So this is a 96 proof, and when we try it, I'll be interested to see your reaction. But it's a 96 proof, 4-grain blend. So in here, we've got a 4-year-old and a 6.5. So average is about 6 to 7 years of 2 different bourbons blended together. We chose 4-grain. I'll give you a little bit about the backstory of why we're different and what this. Because you're right, Keith. There's like 3,000 craft bourbons out there on the market today.
Oh yeah.
It's infinite. But we're the only spirits company in America founded by 4 veterans from 4 different branches of the military, hence 4 branches. And we chose 4 grains, one to represent each branch of the military that we came from. Yeah, there are 6 branches now, but the 4 of us who started it came from the Army, Air Force, Navy, and Marines.
Okay.
And then we set out to change the message in the alcohol industry within our community. Because we know, hey, we tried it back in Prohibition. Alcohol is not going anywhere. And sometimes people can make some really bad decisions. And we see it affect a lot in the veteran and first responder community. We see it perhaps affect them more, and they make some really poor decisions sometimes they don't come home from. So we said, let's change it. Our backgrounds are very unique. We all come from either a special operations or intelligence operations background. I myself, I was a Marine infantry officer, and then I was a CIA contractor for over a dozen years. Harold is our Navy component, 30-plus year Command Master Chief Naval Special Warfare, SEAL. Mm-hmm. And then Mike was an Air Force security forces and a CIA officer, was on protective staff for the director. And then RJ, who we affectionately call our underachiever because he started as a Green Beret, and at age 40, he decided to go take the Air Force Special Operations selection, become a PJ, and he's the oldest guy to ever hold it. So going back, we decided to try to change the message, right? And that message is everybody serves a community. Whether you serve in the military, law enforcement or not, we're all serving some community and serving one another. So if you do so honorably. Mm-hmm. And then if you drink, and if you don't start. I'm not asking you to. But if you drink, we say drink honorably. And we hope that resonates at a little bit higher level. Drink responsibly is incredibly important. We'll never take that away. But we feel that drink honorably resonates at a higher level within that community. And I'll call it the ethos, the soul of our company and message is that we don't drink to forget anymore because we've been down that road. We sip to remember. Mm. And that's truly the message that we're putting out. And it's not always just sipping to remember a fallen comrade. And that's how this started. Honoring an unsung friend of mine 25 years ago. We were Marine officers. I vouched for him to come into the CIA. And on his first mission out, he was a complete hero, saved everyone's life, but he didn't come home. And I brought Greg home. And he was awarded a star on the wall at Langley. Subsequently, there have been 5 more stars from the unit I was a part of that have gone on that wall. And that's where it all started to become a tribute. But then we said, and do it bigger and better. But going back to Sip to Remember, it's, I have one of these when I sip to remember my 9-year-old's first deer he killed this year. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, what's funny about it is I think that it's that you got to find your place in the market. Like you said, there's lots of people that make bourbons. Like there's lots of people that make TV shows, hunting TV shows. There's lots of taxidermists out there. Okay, lots of people in all these different spaces. How do you find something in your space where you're unique and you have something special for the customer? And I think it's good that you've got a message for them. Okay, you've got something that is unique, and I like that. It's like what's unique with our show is we call our show the High Road because we think in life we ought to all take the high road in everything we do. And sometimes taking the high road is it's a hard thing to take because it's real easy to get down the dirt and scuff around.
It's typically the high road I've learned is also the hard road.
It is, and so it's not that we take the high road all the time, but we know we ought to. And so it's like when you drink, I don't know. I just when I was younger, I used to drink a lot. Okay, I still drink, but I drink responsibly, number one, and honorably. I never thought about that. Drinking honorably. I mean, think, we wound up years ago. We were up on the side of the mountain, and it was cold, and we had knocked down a big mule deer buck. We were sitting there, and a buddy of mine had a flask of bourbon, and the sun was going down. We're sitting there, and it was one of the greatest days ever. And he says, "Anybody want a drink?" I said, I didn't know he had bourbon. I said, man, I'd love that. And I said, we ought to have a toast right now, just to the day, just to life in general, to the hunt. And I thought that would be something so cool to do at the end of every one of our hunts because we are so grateful for the time that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's, to me, bourbon is the quintessential American spirit to do that. We gather around a campfire after the hunt. And we pour a toast.
Drink to remember the hunt.
We're drinking to remember the hunt.
Well, let's talk about hunting.
I'm just looking at this thing, wondering what it tastes like.
So, when, like you said, you go on the bourbon taste, you smell it. Mm-hmm. You'll pick up hints of vanilla.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
a little citrus. Yep. Mm-hmm. Sometimes a little nutmeg. And then we take that first sip, and you just kind of swirl it around.
That is smooth. And I'm not normally, I normally drop a little soft drink in there with it, to be honest with you. But
normally,
that is really
you
good.
always do.
I always do. But that is good. You could drink that by itself, yeah.
We got really lucky, and we're pretty proud of it. We just won. So we've only been out on the market a year, right? It's taken 3 years to create this. Apparently, creating a bourbon company is incredibly hard in the United States. I thought it would be so easy.
No.
3 years ago, driving home at the day job, and sometimes you hear voices, and sometimes you ought to listen to them. And this voice said to me, you should do a barrel for the guys in the old unit. I thought, oh, that'd be incredibly easy. I'll buy a barrel of bourbon and I'll bottle it and I'll sell that on Facebook. It'll go like that. Apparently, you can't sell bourbon on Facebook.
You can't do a lot of things on Facebook.
Learn that real quick.
You're talking to the kings of not being able to do things on Facebook right now.
But so that's kind of where it started. But the going back to being a year old, we've been really blessed. We just won a double gold, a silver, and the South's Best veteran brand, which was a competition. And all the 3 different competitions we won, just we're blessed. I mean, you can drink this just like you did, neat. You can drink with anything you want. Really, as they say in the industry, there's no wrong way to drink bourbon.
This is really good stuff. Yeah. Really good stuff. I mean, it doesn't burn.
Yeah, I like that.
No, it doesn't burn. You get the warmth, right? And so in Kentucky, they call that the Kentucky hug. And we were like, we're going to take that, but we're going to put our own twist on it. We call it the Kentucky kiss, because I'd rather get a kiss than a hug.
Yeah,
there you go.
Right. So you're drinking whiskey, bourbon, because it's got the heat, but it's not going to burn your face off. You're not going to go fire up the 250 with it.
So let's talk about hunting, and we celebrate the hunt. We toast the hunt, with a bourbon. But I want to talk about hunting. Tell me, you are a hunter, correct?
Through and through.
Okay. What do you hunt, and why do you hunt?
2 great questions. What and why? If it flies or walks and it's legal to hunt, I hunt it. I choose to hunt with a bow. I made my living with a gun for so long. That's not really my thing. Not that I won't pick up a rifle and take the shot if need be, but I prefer the challenge of bow hunting. It's just more solitude for me.
Yeah, you've been around the block.
Yeah, and so why do I hunt? It allows me to give time to reflect, right? Sometimes we have to have that inner calm, that inner peace. And I primarily deer hunt because it's really easy to hunt here in the U.S., but I've been to Africa 5 times. My druthers is to go to Africa and bow hunt. That's truly that's my passion. But it's much more accessible now that I have 2 kids to hunt here in the U.S. So when I'm in a tree stand, that's my time to connect with nature. Connect with, for me, it's the man upstairs, and to reflect. And it's also, putting your wits against a cagey whitetail, an old buck, right? We're playing a chess game, and that is more the thrill than releasing the string. It's can I outmaneuver him? Can I take everything I've learned in life and in the military and apply that as a chess game against my opponent? And so that, and I love to put food on the table for the family and to show my boys growing up, like, hey, these are what I call life skills with Rick. You ought to know how to shoot a deer or shoot a big game animal. You should know how to dress an animal out. You should know how to provide for your family. And that's why I want to be a role model and try and teach my children that.
So out of your partners in the bourbon company, do those guys hunt?
They all do. Harold hunts. Mike hunts, but he's not a huge outdoorsman. And RJ is probably the least of the hunters, probably more of a bird guy than out of the three of us or 4 of us. But I'm primarily the guy in the outdoor industry.
That's cool. So if you were to pick one animal that you wanted to go after, what would it be?
Cape buffalo with a bow.
Have you done it?
I've not. It's on the list.
You got one behind you right now. Watch out.
I'm 51. I'd like to get it done before I'm 53.
You better when you can still pull back a bow. I'm serious, because you go out to Cape Buffalo, you're going to be shooting a heavy arrow. You're going to be shooting close distance. You're going to need a lot of good penetration. You're going to need to select your equipment wisely, and also your pH, your backup. You're going to need to have a lot of confidence in your backup.
That and my wife said the life insurance has to go up by another $1 million.
There you go. There you go. Now, when you went over to Africa, you got any stories from over there? I mean, were you hunting with a bow, with a rifle? What were you going after when you went over there?
Everything I hunt in Africa was with a bow.
Really? Out of a hide?
We hide and we did spot and stalk.
Okay.
The probably the coolest one was I actually shot a giraffe.
Really?
Yeah, on foot, spot and stalk a giraffe. So we're coming back with the PH. Let's see, where was I? I was South Africa on that one, northern South Africa, and we're coming back, and it comes over the radio. One of the game scouts says, "Hey," basically, "Hey, boss, we got a giraffe out there with a broken leg." And the PH looked at him and said, "A broken leg?" Because he had never heard of a giraffe with a broken leg. Huge. I mean, it was just it was a big old bull. And so the PH looked at me and goes, "Hey, Rick, you want to try and go after it? Because lions are either going to get it or it's going to die a poor death.
Yep.
I said, let's give it a shot.
Sign me up.
Yep, sign me up. So they are deceivingly fast, right?
Yeah, they don't
Even
look
on
like they're
3
moving
legs.
fast.
Yeah, we got up to it and we could see it through and also the camouflage. It's amazing
I
that
know.
you cannot, he's like, it's right there. The guides or the tracker's like, it's right there. I'm like, right where? Mm-hmm. Right there. I'm like, looking, I'm like, there it is. I mean, they literally disappear in plain sight. So we get up to it. I think I'm about 30 yards away, kind of in the brush, and it's just standing there. It's hurt. You can tell this is a huge old bull. I can tell he's old because he's got the dark black spots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a beautiful bull. And the PA says, "Hey, shoot that spot." I look at him. I'm like, "Are you joking with me right now?"
Which spot?
Yeah.
I'm like, "Seriously?" He goes, "Yeah, the one that looks like a dish."
A dish.
I don't know even what to say to my PH. I loved him, but I was like, seriously, which spot, where to shoot? So, unfortunately, the first shot was a little high, higher than I expected, and then after that, it was game on because first shot goes in, he didn't like it, and that bull didn't start running, but he just started walking, and his walk was a sprint for us to try and catch up and get ahead of him to cut him off. So we finally caught up to him, out of breath, and it stops. And he's like, "Look, okay, count from your arrow down, 3 spots, shoot, take the shot, drop it to the knock." And people who don't think a bow is deadly, I'm telling you, I think sometimes a bow will drop an animal faster than a gun.
I agree.
And I'm going to say under 2 minutes, probably 1:30. This, second largest land animal in the world is a giraffe. He goes head over heels, and he is done. And so when we're field dressing him, the heart is about that big, and the arrow went right through his heart. It was
Really?
a quick, clean,
Isn't it
honorable
amazing
death.
where the kill zone is on a giraffe? It's different than
More
it would
forward,
be.
It's so forward.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you shoot a giraffe in the area that you would shoot a whitetail, you'll never kill it.
You'll still be out there. I'd still be out there looking for him.
Right. I mean, the kill zone is completely different.
Yeah.
And so, we've done several giraffes, but I haven't done with a bow. I wound up doing it with a rifle, and we typically put them right here.
A rifle,
They go
and then
like
one with a 50 BMG. He did one. It was like he did a headshot on it. It looked like a building coming down. I never seen anything like it.
yeah, but giraffes. But when you start putting stuff up on YouTube, we talk about YouTube police, okay, or Facebook, okay, Facebook police. People come on court when they it's like kill a giraffe. It's like, why would you kill a giraffe? It's like, how much time you got?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, everything has to be managed, and as hunters, every time we pull the trigger, we're making a management decision, and so it's for that reason I think that we have a responsibility to hunt honorably. I mean, tell people why we're doing what we're doing.
Absolutely.
We shouldn't be ashamed of it or scared of it, but unfortunately on YouTube they kind of squelch us back. They don't want us talking about it.
It's real easy to sit behind a keyboard and flash out your opinion with no consequences. I mean, nobody ever comes up and says this stuff to our face, but they love to sit on that keyboard and say that negative crap. And sometimes it's hunters, which is really frustrating me.
Yeah. Sometimes there's not enough accountability. If we could get back to the days where there was some accountability for your words and your actions,
Yeah.
you'd
Yep.
see a lot less of that.
Oh yeah.
Because it takes a little bit of grit and sand to come up and say, I disagree with you.
Exactly.
People by nature are non-confrontational. And I'm not saying that we have to go out and be confrontational
But social media allows them to become confrontational very easily.
without consequences.
Yes, yes, and if you've got a complaint, bring it. That's fine, but let's handle it honorably.
Yep.
Let's just do it with respect. I can understand if you disagree with my opinion on something. That's okay. We don't all agree on everything.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, I think we ought to talk about it. Just talk about it, because if somebody says, "Why would you want to shoot a lion?" Thank you for asking. Let me tell you. Okay. I mean, it's because, but then genuinely listen, because there's a reason.
Absolutely. I heard a story yesterday, the other day, whether you're left, right, up, down, doesn't matter. If you take, two guys getting together on opposite sides of the spectrum, I bet you if they took a bottle of good bourbon and sat down by the fire, poured themselves a pour, and actually started talking, it wouldn't be that different.
Yeah.
I'm always telling people that we look for the common thread that unites us. find that, and that's the reason why with hunters, I mean, hunters, I don't care if it's bucks or ducks, it doesn't matter what you go after. If you're a hunter, we have more in common than we don't have in common.
Absolutely.
And let's try to find out what that common thread is and build upon that. And it's for that reason people ask us, what is your niche? Because there are some TV shows, hunting shows that have a niche. They're either all bow hunting or they're all gun hunting or they're all ducks or all deer, whatever. Our niche is, we don't have a niche. Our niche is hunting, okay, and we want to do it all and support everybody who hunts. I don't care how, where, or what they hunt. We support it all because, like I said, if we, I want to be around like-minded people. That's just what I want to do. And hunters, for the most part, are like-minded people.
Absolutely.
So you got kids, you saying?
I do. I have a 9 and 11-year-old.
Do they hunt?
They do.
What do they like to hunt?
Anything that Dad will take them hunting for.
Really?
Yeah. So my youngest has been fortunate. Talking consequences, accountability. Last year, I take them each individually. I learned real quick it's real hard to take them both in blind with each other, either because of the competitiveness or it's just going to be too loud.
Yeah.
So I take each one separately. So I was like, all right, today's, this weekend's your turn, next weekend's your turn, or whenever I can take them. So the oldest last year, and it was a good lesson. The oldest said, Dad, the younger one can go. I said, are you sure? So I said, okay. So we went, and the younger one, just this hammer buck I'd been chasing, came out, right? So he's probably 4 years old, got split brow tine. He's a great deer from Middle Tennessee. I mean, he's probably 140.
Wow.
Yeah, great deer.
Dang.
Got the crossbow out. We're sitting in the blind. I see a deer come out on the right, and it's not that deer. I was like, well, that's a good one. And I made a mistake. I parked down the line, it's where we're hunting kind of a horseshoe on a river, and I'd parked my truck so we didn't have to walk too far to a blind. That deer popped out and looked right down the lane and saw the truck and was like, he went back in, and the youngest one was like, I told you not to park there, Dad. okay, I get it. Wait a few more minutes. A young buck comes out, probably a little fork horn. I was like, no, we can't shoot him, buddy. We got to let him get a little bigger. Let's let him mature a little bit. And then this hammer comes out, and he's at 70 yards when I range him. So I've got the crossbow dialed in at 50. And I said, my youngest is just hammering away like, Dad, can we shoot it? Can we shoot it? I was like, son, it's at 70 yards. You can't shoot that. I'm not even dialed in for that. No, I can do it. I was like, no. I said, he's going to work his way in. So he's kind of quartering to us a little bit, comes in about 60, gets to about 60 yards. And my son is just, Dad, I can make the shot. Dad, I'll just hold high. I know where to hold. And so, being the wise dad I think I am, I'm like, this is going to be a lesson of taking a shot, and you're going to miss, and we're going to have a life lesson here. It's going to be a life moment. So I'm like, okay, I've got the video camera. I'm down beside him. I made a mistake. I was real close to the arms because I was hugged up against him. And I said, okay, son, when you're ready, take the shot. Next thing I know, it's whack. Camera flies out of my hand. I'm like, what happened? I see the buck run off. I don't see anything. And I was too close to the arms. I got lucky I didn't lose my hand.
Yeah.
I mean, it caught the hood of the sun hood on the camera. Knocked it out the hands. Saw the deer go off. He's all excited, like, Dad, I hit it. And I'm like, I didn't see anything. So I was like, all right, let's get out. Let's go check. We get out. We go out. I'm looking, see some tracks. No blood, nothing. Right? And it's starting to get dark now. We probably got 15 minutes left of decent light before I need to get the flashlights out. And I look at him, and he looks at me, and I was like, buddy, I think you missed it. And I don't think you hit it. I think it's a clean miss. I can't find anything. And he starts to get teary-eyed and comes and hugs me. And I'm like, no. Hey, buddy, we're not going to cry. It's okay. It's okay. And I tell you, I'm kidding you not. I look down to the left as I'm hugging him, and there's the darn bolt covered in blood.
Nice.
I mean, covered in blood. I looked down. I was like, Gabe, look at this. And he's like, Dad, kind of hits me and goes, Dad, I told you. I know where. I told you I hit it. I know what the sound of an arrow hitting a deer sounds like. So, long story short is, stick the arrow. We start. I call another young gentleman who's not too far away, because I know I'm going to need some help with this beast. He comes. We track it. The deer goes maybe 150 yards as a crow flies, crosses the river. We track it to the river. The river's really low. It's more like a creek, except when it rains, it gets really big. And I shine the light up on the other side, and just piled up in the fence. I'll show you pictures later tonight, but it's piled up in the fence, and it is a bruiser of a deer. And honestly, as I looked at the shot, because I thought he might hit here. He hit it back, and he must have took out an artery and the liver. Because that thing, I mean, usually a liver, I was like, well, it might be 24 hours before we go and look for it. But he hit an artery, and that thing was piled up at 150 yards.
So what does brother think?
He was real upset they didn't go hunting.
I was going to say,
and the same thing
You know
happened.
how
dang
that
it.
is.
Yes, I do. You try to be nice. Oh, yeah, go ahead. And then he comes back with a big old buck. He was probably like, dang it.
Yeah, there was a few rough days in the house with that one. And the mount hasn't come back yet. It's coming back this summer. So it'll be a constant reminder of like, hey, don't pass up an opportunity. You take it when it comes.
Well, that's cool. Well, so let me ask you something. You were a Marine, or you are a Marine, and your partners are in different branches of service. What do you think hunting does for those guys? In other words, do you think hunting is kind of therapeutic? I mean, what benefit could? Because I think whether you're in the military or whatever, doesn't matter. There's something magical about hunting. I want to kind of get your take on what do you think that hunting could do for people, especially servicemen and women, that probably need some of that time to reflect.
Exactly that, Keith. I think like I told you, for me, hunting is time to reflect, time to slow down. I think hunting is incredibly therapeutic for our servicemen and servicewomen. It gives you that time to focus and be in the outdoors. Being in the outdoors is it's been proven to be therapeutic with whatever you're dealing with, right? And being in God's creation, being out there, having that opportunity to slow down and shut the noise out is really important. And I would advocate, and I do advocate, I'm very big with SCI, with Houston Safari Club. Been a lifelong hunter all my life growing up in Louisiana. And left it a little bit when I got in the military because we don't have the time. But as soon as we were able to get out, then went full bore back into it because it was so healthy. And it really does, in my opinion, help you keep a clear head and allows you to make those connections and that self-reflection that is so incredibly important for our in my opinion, for our servicemen and women that have experienced some of the things they've experienced overseas.
Yeah.
I think that and the younger that you can get kids out, I think that the better it is for those kids, because they learn life lessons. They learn stuff they can't learn in school.
Absolutely. You learn the life skills that you have to, in my opinion, to function in society and be successful. Right?
And the thing is, it's like, and it just sounds so cliche to go, just it's hunting is so good, but it really is. I mean, I don't care. I mean, people look forward to it year round. I mean, we hunt everything because I can't get enough of just hunting deer for a couple of months a year. So I got to hunt year round. I hunt everything. I mean,
he always says, "Oh, we got to slow down. We got to slow down. We're filming too much. We're filming too much." And they'll be like, "Hey, I booked like 3 trips for next month." And I'm like, "Oh my god."
And I get so excited.
He loves it. I'm right there with him.
But I get so excited that when I go, it's like the fountain of youth.
But look at the joy. Look at the joy. I can hear it in your voice and see it.
It's just like I'm a little boy again. Yeah. I mean, we were bear hunting the other day, and Mary's fixing to shoot a bear, and I'm like going, I'm breathing, and the camera's shaking and stuff, and I'm just like, and I'm thinking, what's wrong with me?
Nothing.
Nothing's
wrong. You have the enthusiasm for life that so many of us, when I say us, in general,
so many people need that.
They lose it.
Yes.
Right? They lose it from some point from childhood to adulthood. That spark in life is gone. And to your point, hunting for me and my family, that's a spark that just, it keeps that ember glowing, right? I wake up, I'm excited. Fall's coming. What food plot are we going to go? What trip are we going to plan? Whether it's hunting or fishing, it's in the outdoors, and it creates that enthusiasm that we have to have.
And it builds that bond with your kids that nothing else that you can do builds that stronger bond that I know of.
The other day, I didn't even tell you this. It was turkey season started in March out here, and I love turkey hunting. I really do. And the night before, I was like, I haven't had this feeling since Christmas morning when I was a little kid. Like the next day, I was so excited, and I literally couldn't sleep. And I was just like, man, this is the one thing in my life that continues to just get me jacked up, man. I freaking love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's just like the very first time you ever went.
Exactly. I told somebody that the other day. I said, this is the only thing in my life that every time I do it, it feels like the first time I did it. It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So I got to ask y'all a question. If you're listening or you're watching, we do a thing on Facebook every morning. I started doing it's called Coffee with Keith. Okay, and we talk, and it's a little 90-second reel. We'll talk about everything from the weather to politics to deer hunting but it's just sitting down like with a buddy and talking over coffee, and it's just become hugely successful. And there are people that said, you know what, you ought to do a cocktails with Keith in the evening. So
Yes.
anyway, what do you think? Should we do a cocktails with Keith?
I'm in with you.
It couldn't be every evening though, because then
Yeah, I don't think it should be
might
every.
be a little
We'll do it
Once a week.
responsibly and honorably.
There you go.
responsibly and honorably. Yes.
I mean, but seriously, I think we got an idea that going forward. It's like, wait a minute, after a kill, after when we celebrate the hunt at the end of the day, what a cool deal! Just to sit back and say, you know what, just to thank God for the time, thank your buddies for being with you, and it's like, and just take it all in and drink honorably.
And let's have and sip to remember that hunt.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, it's about life's moments, right? And life's moments can be good and bad.
Oh, yeah.
Right, but let's honor them and let's enjoy it.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
There we
Damn
go.
Good day. Yeah. My favorite part about the hunt is the skin and shed. Like when you come back and everybody's there and maybe you have a little beard, you don't need to get crazy or wild, but you get to tell the story and appreciate it and enjoy
No,
it.
mine's a kill shot.
Yeah, I know.
Mine's a kill shot. I still haven't gotten over that. And the thing about what we wound up doing is one of the things on our show, we will not kill an animal unless we get an unbelievable kill shot. No. We won't do it. I don't care. It could be the biggest. I don't care if it isn't right. And that, like you say, the camera has saved more animals' lives.
It has saved so many animals. You don't even understand. Like it's just like, oh man.
I mean, it's just got
away.
too dark. And look, if somebody's going to give the most valuable thing that you have in your life is the time in your life. What are you going to make a choice and do with your time in your life, 24 hours a day? If somebody's going to give us the time to listen to this podcast, we want to give them the best we can. If they're going to watch our videos, we want to give the best we can. And so when they watch a hunting video and all of a sudden somebody runs out of battery and they didn't get the kill shot, or it got too dark, or the deer walks behind the tree, or whatever, it's like it cheats the viewer. And
I wanted to kill it.
Yeah, it's like, well, so it's like, wait a minute. No, we want to look at things. We want to give the viewer the best we can for their time.
Absolutely.
It's like the quality of your product. You want to give it the best quality product that you can.
Because you're putting your name to it. We put our names and our reputation on this.
Yep.
And so it was a no-fail mission from our backgrounds. And we wanted something that was going to be worthy of our family names.
So let's talk about distribution of your product. Are you getting good distribution, or where could somebody find it?
So we do have pretty good distribution,
Okay.
right? So we are direct to consumer, 33 states online where it can be shipped to. Then in stores, in market, we are in Tennessee, Kentucky, Florida, Arizona, and we just launched last month Maryland, Washington, D.C., and Virginia.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
7 markets in a year.
Did you say Texas?
It's coming.
Okay, I was going to
It's
say.
coming.
I didn't think you said
Te-
Texas.
We're, you know how you have to be ready for a hunt? You want to be prepared to go on the hunt. You want to make sure
Yes.
you got all the ammunition. We need to be prepared to come and hunt in Texas.
Totally understand.
Right,
So what is your biggest struggle in building business?
usually honest and open transparency, because that's kind of the guy we are, or the company we are. It's capital. It's funding, right? You're right. It's incredibly expensive to do this. So that is the biggest hurdle. If you got the funding, you can do anything. Right?
How many people does it take to make your product?
So we source our product right now. However, we are laying down 500 new barrels this year. So in 4 years, it'll be fantastic. Mm-hmm. But so until that time, and in the bourbon industry, believe it or not, a lot of brands do that. In fact, I'm going to say the
Absolutely
majority.
they do.
They have to
yeah.
They have to source their bourbon aged already, because it's such a time intensive business in order to get there. So to answer that question, I don't really know, because we're sourcing it from 2 other distilleries.
But they use a proprietary ingredients recipe.
They do.
Okay, in order to make the product.
Correct. And then we took their product and we blended it to our proprietary standards
Gotcha.
to get our blend. So the blend on this, the mash bill, as they say in the industry, is 65% corn.
Okay.
Fly loves us.
Yeah, I know he does.
Yeah, what's the deal with the flies?
I don't know. He's just hanging out with us, man.
I mean,
it's
they are
one fly.
They're hanging around on y'all's end of
Gosh,
the table.
dang
No,
it.
they're not. They're on mine
I'm going
too.
to call somebody to go run interference. What were you saying?
65 corn,
65, yeah.
15% rye, 10% malted barley, and 10% wheat.
I was amazed watching how it was made.
Isn't it incredible?
I had no idea.
It's like, wait a minute, they did this over 100 years ago.
Yeah.
How in the world did those
More than
guys?
100 years
yeah,
ago.
Oh, I know. How did those guys figure this out? That's what gets me. When you wind up going and you look at these museums and the old pictures, how they did this, it's like, wow, those guys must have been pretty smart. And I'm wondering what it tasted like.
Not as good as it is today.
Oh, I guarantee you. That's some
That's
good
pretty
stuff
dang good
there.
right there. So, as far as hunting goes, you've been to Africa. You've hunted with your, family, done the typical hunting. What else have you done? What other types of hunts have you done?
Hunted Africa, hunted several countries in Africa, hunted throughout the U.S., hunted elk in Montana, New Mexico, did turkey in Mexico. That was it. The ocellated.
Wow.
And
You went way down there.
Yeah, did oscillate in the Yucatan. Look, that's a hard hunt. That may be
You're in
one of
the
the
jungle.
one of the most miserable hunts ever.
Really? Why?
I'm not coming back to the jungle.
Yeah.
So I have so much respect for the guys in Vietnam that fought in the jungle. Like, there was everything that wanted to bite me, sting me, and snakes. I have no problem with snakes. If it's got 8 legs and crawls, no, sir. That's just a big nope. I'm not dealing with it. But it was every imaginable bug, and it was so hot. I mean,
And humid?
hot. And at the camp we were at, there was a creek that ran through it. And so we go hunt in the morning, and look, they said you can't call an ocellated turkey, and I believe it. Thing sounds like to me, it sounds like a dinosaur, right? Because they got it called on some electronic call. I was like, I imagine this was what some sort of prehistoric bird sounds like.
Can you do the sound?
No, I'm not even going to attempt.
Okay.
Right? I'm going to save my own dignity at this point. I'm not even going to attempt it. But it was so hot. We'd come back from the hunt at midday. I was like, I don't care how hot it is. And there was a caiman in the water. I was like, I'm going to lay down in the stream next to the caiman. If he bites me, I don't care. I'm too hot.
Take me.
Take me. I'm going to have a Modelo, and I'm going to sit in the stream.
We went to Mexico on a Gould's turkey hunt, and Keith wasn't able to go because he had to go on a bear hunt. And Keith's not too fond of turkeys. And he's like, how was it afterwards? I said, I loved it, but you would have hated it.
Were you up in
Hated
Sonora?
it. Yes.
Yeah,
But
same here.
It was the rockiest terrain I've ever seen in my life.
Yep.
It took us an hour to get to the blind every morning, and it was like probably a mile of just rockiness. My head hit the window so hard I thought it knocked me out. It was crazy. It's a different place down there.
It took us 5 hours in a Jeep to get to the jungle camp.
I'm going to just inject here. We're sitting here at Conroe Taxidermy, and I don't know how many animals are around us. 1,000?
Oh, at least.
I mean,
probably.
At least.
2,000. I mean, lots of them. And we talk about Rick's giraffe. Okay, we hear a story about that. We hear a story about the crossbow buck that your son shot. And I think every one of these animals in here has a story like that with a hunter and their friend, family, whatever. I think that's what's so cool about hunting. These stories that we take and we get animals mounted and we take them and put them in our offices or homes or trophy rooms, whatever. There's a story behind each and every one of them. And so hunters are unique. I think we're like, look at cavemen. I think we're the modern day caveman. The caveman wound up, when he was successful, he made a pictograph on the side of the cave that would pay tribute to the hunt. They hunted buffalo or whatever it was, and you see these pictographs. And I think these are our modern day pictographs, these trophies on the wall. It's a way to commemorate the hunt.
It keeps the memory alive, right? I was upstairs packing this morning or last night before coming down here, and I've got two big deer I'm really, really proud of. I got 183-inch typical from Iowa, and 150, 160-inch from my wife's farm. And I went up there and I looked at them, and I actually, no one was there, and I just caught myself. I was literally petting it like a dog. It's like, looking good, old boy. And went to the other one, the same thing, straightened it up, and sat there for a minute or so, just reflecting, just remembering, wow, I shot that one in the snow, and I ran out of I ran out of black powder, and found it. And same with the other one.
They stay with you forever.
Hunting is emotional. Think about that. We're passionate. Hunters are passionate about however they do it or whatever they do. But it's an emotion. This emotion that we have. Your son. I missed it. No, I told you I hit it. It goes from a low to a high immediately, or you can be just elk hunting up in the mountains, kicking your butt, and all of a sudden the bull shows up and you smoke him. That arrow goes to him. It's like you went from a low to a high instantly.
In a heartbeat.
Yes.
Right? It's emotional because of that. It's emotional because you're taking a life and giving honor and gratitude to it. There's nothing else out there, except maybe war to a certain degree, but there's nothing else out there where you'll go from the highest high to the lowest low, in my opinion. Like you said, I mean, you can have a perfect buck come in, a buck of a lifetime, and miss him, and it will haunt you maybe for the rest of your life, or if you're lucky enough, the next season.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda. It's like,
Yeah.
Had many situations like that. That still I'm thinking of some in my head right now.
So Rick, we're going to have to wrap this up.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of running out of time.
Yeah, we got this party coming up.
We if somebody wants more information about your product, what do they need to do?
They just need to go to www.fourbranches.com.
Okay.
And they can get we've got all the YouTube videos, we got all the ordering information. One of the things I failed to mention is we're a big give back brand. We give back a lot. Within a year, because of the message on these bottles, we have either given them away to events to be auctioned off by other organizations, or they've bought them at cost. But in 1 year, these bottles, because of our message and what we stand for, have raised $330,000.
That's awesome.
Wow.
I mean, we had one bottle go for $18,000 in Louisville at auction.
Really?
We were 2 months out the gate as a new product. 4 bottles at an event in Washington, D.C., a CIA Special Operations event. Had a couple logos on it and all that. Auctioned off for $66,000. That brings more joy to my heart than anything. Yes, we're in the bourbon business, and I want people to buy our product because, A, it's really good. You gentlemen have tried it. But more importantly, because of the message that we're telling people about, like sip to remember, drink honorably, serve honorably.
And drink responsibly.
And drink responsibly.
You're watching this right now.
And that's amazing that 4 of these bottles in November of last year, which we had only been on the market 6 months less, $66,000. So for a total of $330,000.
Well, there's a lot of bourbon brands out there, but there's only one brand like that. And that's the thing that it's going to separate you, and so that's cool. We appreciate you taking the time to come down and do the podcast with us. But more importantly, it's nice to meet you, and it's nice to try your bourbon. It's dang good.
I was just going to say,
and the deal is, after I went through and saw firsthand what it was to make a product like this, it's like that is amazing.
Well, I'm honored to be here. Right, I'm a little bit younger. And I grew up with you on the show.
Did you really?
Yes, sir. I mean, look, a kid from South Louisiana was hunting on the marsh. Right.
I detected some coon ass in you.
It's there. It's deep. I left a long time ago, but it's there.
I'd be quiet, but it's like I detected a bit of coon ass.
I'm just, as I tell a lot of people, I'm just a kid from home of Louisiana. I grew up in the bayous.
Did you really?
And just made it out and traveled the world and did a few things. Now
and the military kind of helped you get out of there, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It did.
Well, the military has, opened up a lot of doors for you, and this is a beautiful opportunity for you and your crew. But the thing about it is, I think this is a cool thing about life. Every day you wake up in life, and it's like there's more opportunity out there. What do you want to make of it? And like hunting, you make choices. I say in life we all make choices. Okay, you can make a good choice, or you can make a bad choice.
That's right.
And we have to live with the consequences of those choices. And so,
100%.
Yeah, and so I think drink honorably.
That's right.
Honorably. Cheers. We appreciate you joining us.
Yeah.
And folks, we appreciate you joining us. And if you've got any questions or comments, you're watching online, go ahead and post them below. We'll get back with you. And where else can they watch, John?
All right, folks. So after this episode ends, you can stick around to see all the platforms we're airing on, whether you want to watch on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, or anywhere in between. Be sure to check out Four Branches Bourbon as well with our friend Rick Franco. And we got a party to get to.
All right. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you, gentlemen.
We'll see
Let's
you
do
next
it.
time.
People Who Hunt can be watched on Facebook and YouTube and listened to on all major platforms.